I met Michael at an open house in a luxury Manhattan apartment building with a spectacular view of the skyline. That day, I was prepared to give a perfect property presentation as the seller's real estate agent. The 50th floor penthouse, with its sparkling crystal chandelier, held a special place among my listings. The view of the skyscrapers from the windows was like something out of a postcard. The man who appeared there was an IT executive with an intellectual air about him, wearing glasses. Dressed in a navy cashmere sweater, his appearance suggested refined, understated good taste. As I watched his profile gazing at the night view from the top-floor penthouse, I felt something fateful. "The view is magnificent, isn't it?" I said, and he turned to me with a gentle smile. "Wilson. Michael Wilson," he said. There was a familiar warmth in his voice. What followed was like something out of a movie. The following week, Michael came back to view the property again between his work commitments and asked me out to dinner. Our first dinner was at a small Italian restaurant in Greenwich Village. The single rose on the table showed his thoughtful attention to detail. After dating for 6 months, he proposed to me in Central Park. On an autumn evening by the lake surrounded by fall colors, his hand trembled slightly as he presented a vintage Tiffany ring. However, during our journey to marriage, would experience a significant encounter. My first meeting with Michael's mother, Martha Wilson. She was a prominent figure in Greenwich, Connecticut, with a 25-year career as a pharmacist. At a dinner in an upscale Greenwich restaurant, Martha appeared with elegant poise, her pearl necklace casting a soft glow. Her perfectly styled platinum blonde hair and understated yet commanding presence in her Chanel suit. "So you're the one making my son happy," she said, with something of a testing tone in her voice. The wedding was held at the historic Christ Church in Greenwich, under Martha's perfect arrangements. She praised me as perfect in my pure white wedding dress. Among the 200 guests, only her gaze seemed to carry some other meaning. Our greatest joy was the birth of our son, Ryan. At Greenwich Hospital, he was like an angel with his blonde curls and big blue eyes. Michael made time between work to visit the hospital, cherishing our time as a family of 3. My mother-in-law visited almost daily to help care for her grandson. On the surface, it was a picture of perfect happiness. However, an unexpected event disrupted those happy days. It happened at Ryan's first birthday party. Shortly after eating a specially ordered organic cake, Ryan's condition suddenly changed. It was discovered that Ryan had a severe peanut allergy. At Greenwich Hospital, where he was rushed by ambulance, we received strict warnings from the doctor. My mother-in-law's words from that time still ring in my ears. "My son Michael never had anything like this." I clearly detected the accusatory tone hidden in those words. Since then, our lives changed dramatically. We became vigilant about managing Ryan's allergies, always carrying an EpiPen and carefully checking meal contents. We submitted detailed instructions to the school and had multiple meetings with his teachers. While maintaining seemingly harmonious weekend dinners, the advice from my mother-in-law kept increasing. During family picnics at Todd's Point or trips to the Bruce Museum, her words pierced me mercilessly. "April, don't you think your parenting is a bit overprotective? If it were me, I would do things differently." Raising Michael was much simpler. Though I felt uncomfortable with my mother-in-law's words, I tried to show respect for my husband's mother. Michael would always try to calm me down, caught in the middle, saying, "Mom means well." One morning, while I was preparing breakfast in the kitchen, the doorbell suddenly rang. Through the monitor, I saw my mother-in-law with her perfectly set hair and Chanel tweed jacket. "Good morning, April." Ignoring my surprise at the unannounced visit, Martha stepped into the house after removing her shoes. In her hand was a shopping bag from the luxury department store Saks Fifth Avenue. "I'm going to make Ryan's lunchbox today." I was momentarily speechless at those words. At the table, Ryan's eyes widened at his grandmother's sudden visit as he ate his cereal. "But Martha, Ryan's meals." "It's fine. I was a pharmacist for 25 years. I'm well versed in allergies." My mother-in-law began taking out ingredients from the Saks bag with practiced movements. Organic vegetables and various high-end ingredients. Everything seemed perfectly selected. "Ryan, Grandma is going to make you a special lunchbox. A lunchbox full of Grandma's love. You'll surely like it." I sensed a strong will in my mother-in-law's tone. Michael had already left for work, and I had to make the decision alone. "I had a sales meeting in an hour. If anything concerns you, please contact me immediately." She nodded with an elegant smile when I said this. "Of course, April. You worry too much." That afternoon, on the way back from North Street Elementary School, Ryan, usually full of energy, was strangely quiet. Something seemed different about my son sitting in the passenger seat. "Was lunch delicious?" I casually asked while checking his expression in the car mirror. Ryan showed a serious expression while trying to hide his lunch box behind his back. "I didn't eat it." "Why? Were you feeling unwell?" "No." "Then why?" "You'll understand if you eat it." The weight in those words froze my heart. It was the first time my 8-year-old son had shown such a serious expression. After returning home, Ryan took his lunch box to his room without washing it and fell asleep earlier than usual. That night, I stood in the dark kitchen. My son's words, "You'll understand if you eat it," kept echoing in my head. When I turned on the kitchen light dimly, I noticed the lunchbox placed beside the sink. As I reached for it, I noticed my fingertips were trembling slightly. The moment I opened it, my heartbeat accelerated rapidly. A perfect-looking lunchbox. But that faint smell wafting from it. I had smelled it before, on that terrible birthday when Ryan collapsed. With trembling hands, I checked inside the lunchbox and discovered a small gap in the bottom. Hidden there was a small glass bottle. The label clearly read, "Peanut oil." In my mind, all the pieces rapidly fell into place. My mother-in-law's sudden visit. The too perfect preparation. My son's change in behavior. And now, this evidence. I reached for my smartphone and dialed 911 without hesitation. The operator's voice echoed on the other end. "I'm reporting an attempted murder." My voice was steadier than I had expected. While reporting to Greenwich Police, images of my son's smile kept appearing and disappearing in my mind. Unable to determine if this was reality or a nightmare, I secured the evidence and waited for events to unfold. The interrogation room at Greenwich Police Station was warmer than I had expected. Children's drawings were posted on the walls, and potted plants were placed in the corner. Sitting across from me was Detective Sarah Connor, a female officer in her mid-40s. The time was 8:30 a.m. Outside the window, the morning sun illuminated the blooming dogwood flowers, a sight that would normally soothe my heart, but now only filled me with an surreal sense of reality. "Could you please tell us everything again from the beginning?" Detective Connor's voice combined the coolness of a professional with the warmth of a mother. The steam rising from the coffee on the desk softened the morning chill. I explained the events from the previous night as accurately as possible. While I spoke, the lunchbox seized as evidence sat on the table. Initial tests by the forensics team had already confirmed the presence of peanut oil. This is clear evidence of attempted murder. It's obvious this was a premeditated crime. When Detective Connor stated this definitively, the air in the room grew heavy. A chill ran down my spine. "A warrant has already been issued. We will search Mrs. Martha Wilson's home. Given her background and social status, this case needs to be handled carefully." Just as she said those words, my cell phone rang. It was from Michael. His smiling photo on the incoming call screen felt incongruous with the current situation. "April, what on earth is going on? I heard the police are at Mother's house." My husband's voice was filled with confusion, anger, and deep sadness. I could hear the commotion of his office in the background. "Michael, I'm sorry. But this was necessary. Mother tried to." "Ryan, that's impossible. There must be some misunderstanding." Michael's voice trembled on the other end of the phone. My heart wavered at the sight of my usually calm husband becoming so distraught. At Martha's mansion in Greenwich's upscale residential area, the search had already begun. Several police vehicles were parked outside the imposing white colonial-style building. In the well-maintained front yard, tulips bloomed brightly, as if unable to comprehend the situation. I could see neighbors peering through their windows. Housewives in jogging wear altered their usual morning exercise routes to pass by this house. The search results confirmed our worst fears. A diary discovered in the study drawer detailed the entire plan. An expensive leather-bound diary. The cruel plans written within were completely at odds with the elegant appearance of this mansion. To protect the perfect bloodline, imperfect beings must be eliminated. Utilizing knowledge as a pharmacist. Detailed study of allergic reaction progression. Methods that leave no trace. I read through the words written in Martha's meticulous handwriting with trembling hands. Records of peanut oil purchases, detailed research notes on allergic reactions, and ominous notes suggesting future plans. Every character was written in perfect handwriting. The detective present at the search quietly told me, "This is evidence that can no longer be dismissed as coincidence or negligence." When I returned home, media had already begun to gather. A reporter from the local Greenwich Time had their camera ready at the front door. I walked silently toward the entrance amid camera flashes. My hair, which I would normally have perfectly arranged out of concern for neighborhood reputation, was now disheveled. In the living room, child psychologist Dr. Rachel Brown had just finished a session with Ryan. Her sincere gaze calmed my heart. Your child has suffered deep trauma. But thanks to your quick response, the worst was avoided. Ryan is a strong child. And you are a wonderful mother. Those words brought tears to my eyes unexpectedly. It's okay, Mom. I'm strong. Ryan comforted me in a small voice from the sofa. His mature attitude made my heart feel like it would burst. An indescribable anger welled up inside me at the reality that an 8-year-old child had to worry about his mother this way. In the evening, Michael came home early from work. His eyes were bloodshot, and his shoulders hung heavy. His usually well-ironed shirt was full of wrinkles today. Why did you report it to the police? We could have resolved this within the family. Within the family? Michael, your mother tried to kill our son. But Mother must have had some reason. She loved us. At least, that's what I believed. The discussion continued late into the night. Our conversation was sometimes filled with anger, sometimes sunk in sadness. Outside the window, the night darkness deepened. On the mantel decorated with family photos, the clock ticked away mercilessly. And the next morning, news that would shake Greenwich arrived. The arrest was quietly executed at Martha's home. She maintained her elegant demeanor until the end. Her perfect appearance with pearl necklace and Chanel suit. However, in her eyes, there was a cold light I had never seen before. Her words at the time of arrest would be repeatedly featured in the media. I did nothing wrong. I only tried to perfect what was imperfect. This is love. Perhaps twisted love, but love nonetheless. As her pearl necklace gleamed in the morning sun, Martha got into the police vehicle. While neighbors watched with shocked expressions, her figure gradually grew smaller. Housewives in gardening gloves paused their flower bed maintenance to watch this scene. That afternoon, an article was published on the Greenwich Time website, and it quickly spread through social media, attracting national attention. Our peaceful life seemed completely shattered. However, even in that darkness, there was a ray of light. Support from the church community, warm messages from the school, and above all, our family bonds growing stronger through this ordeal. The pastor at Christ Church included us in the Sunday Mass prayers. At night, in Ryan's bedroom. While watching my son's sleeping face, I made a quiet vow. I will protect you no matter what. I will never let anyone harm you again. The Stanford Superior Court courtroom was a space that exuded weighty history. Mahogany wood benches, windows reaching to the ceiling, and the solemn atmosphere surrounding the judge's bench. I stood at the witness stand, preparing to testify about the incident. Will the witness please be sworn in? The clerk's voice echoed in the silent courtroom. As I raised my right hand, I glanced at my mother-in-law. Martha sat in the defendant's seat, maintaining her perfect posture as always. Dressed in a pastel pink Chanel suit, her expression remained unchanged. What time did you check the contents of the lunchbox? Prosecutor James Morrison began his questioning in a calm tone. Behind him, the jurors were taking notes earnestly. Around 11 p.m. I could tell my voice was trembling slightly. And why did you wait until that time? My son said, you'll understand if you eat it. Those words bothered me. As I continued my testimony, I observed the expressions of those gathered in the courtroom. The reporters, the spectators, and my husband Michael. He sat in the front row, head bowed. After that, the results of the psychiatric evaluation were presented. A detailed analysis by Dr. Sarah Watson, a psychiatrist at Greenwich Hospital. The defendant shows severe obsessive-compulsive personality disorder. Her perfectionist tendencies are extremely strong, affecting her family relationships. In court, evidence was presented one after another. Martha's diary, purchase records, and numerous messages left on my cell phone. Everything supported the premeditated nature of the crime. Allow me to present the prosecution's view regarding the defendant's motive. Prosecutor Morrison stood up. This is a tragedy born from a twisted obsession with the perfect family image. The defendant viewed her grandson's allergies as an imperfection and tried to correct it. The defendant, with 25 years of experience as a pharmacist, should have understood better than anyone the lethality of anaphylactic shock from peanut allergies. I had a chance to exchange words with Michael in the hallway. His eyes showed deep fatigue. April, maybe I always knew about Mother. What do you mean? Since childhood, Mother demanded perfection in everything. Homework, grades, clothes, everything had to be perfect. Michael's confession revealed truths that had been invisible until now. Before returning to the courtroom, we shared a long embrace. In the afternoon court session, the defense presented their arguments. Martha's lawyer, Stephen Greenberg, attempted to emphasize the influence of mental illness. My client acted out of love for her grandson. While her methods were wrong, her motivation was love. However, that argument failed to move the jury. On the final day of the 7-day trial, the time for verdict arrived. The jury's verdict is unanimous. The defendant, Martha Wilson, is found guilty of attempted murder, child abuse, and attempted injury through use of dangerous substances. The defendant is sentenced to 10 years in prison. When the verdict was delivered, a murmur ran through the courtroom. Martha maintained her expression until the end, silently gazing at her son Michael. That night, we had dinner together as a family. On the table was a warm meal I had prepared. Ryan was enjoying his meal wholeheartedly for the first time in a long while. "Mom, this stew is delicious." Those words brought tears to my eyes. Michael silently held my hand. In our bedroom, we talked for a long time about what lay ahead. Finding a new form for our family, healing our son's emotional wounds, and rebuilding our relationship as husband and wife. Let's get through this together. I nodded quietly at Michael's words. Outside the window, rain began to fall on Greenwich. The sound was like a blessing for our new beginning. From tomorrow, we would take one step forward at a time. All the court records were later used for food allergy awareness campaigns and research on family relationships. Our experience became a lesson to prevent someone else's tragedy. Above all, this incident taught our family something important. That there is no such thing as a perfect family. What makes a true family is being able to understand, support, and love each other. On a peaceful spring morning, 1 year after the incident, we were having breakfast in our new Greenwich home's kitchen. The aroma of freshly baked blueberry muffins wafted over the gleaming stainless steel kitchen counter. "Mom, I'm looking forward to today's field trip lunchbox." Ryan's cheerful voice echoed through the kitchen. Now in third grade, his fearful expression had been replaced by a confident smile. After the incident, we moved to a different area of Greenwich. A house on a small hill overlooking the sea near Todd's Point. The fresh air symbolized our new beginning. "I'm off to school." As we watched Ryan bound out energetically with his backpack, Michael placed his hand on my shoulder. "He's really a strong kid." My husband's voice mixed pride and relief. Indeed, our family had changed greatly over this past year. The incident became a catalyst for changing society's awareness of food allergies. I started a local support group called Safe Table Initiative, helping families with similar concerns. Many families from across Connecticut now attend our monthly meetings. "April, could you check tomorrow's meeting materials?" Michael handed me some documents. He too was now actively involved in food allergy awareness activities. Alongside his IT company work, he had begun developing an app for finding allergy-friendly restaurants. In the afternoon, I gave a lecture at Greenwich Hospital's pediatric department. Doctors and nurses in white coats listened intently. Food allergies are not just a matter of constitution. They can sometimes become trials that test family bonds. However, with proper understanding and support, they can always be overcome. After the lecture, a young mother approached me. In her arms slept a baby about 6 months old. "Mrs. Wilson, hearing your story gave me courage. My son also has severe allergies." I nodded deeply at her words and invited her to join the support group. No one should have to struggle alone. Evening, at the support group meeting in Christchurch. About 20 families had gathered in the church hall. If our experience can help someone. I conducted the meeting with this hope in mind. We occasionally hear about Martha in the news. She reportedly continues to justify her actions in prison. However, the fear and anger I feel when encountering such reports have gradually faded. We don't seek revenge. Only to prevent the same mistakes from being repeated. That was the answer we arrived at. At night, in Ryan's bedroom, I listened to his stories about today's field trip. The school excursion to the Bruce Museum seemed to have been very enjoyable. "Hey Mom, when I grow up, I want to be a doctor who researches allergy medicine." Those words made me spontaneously hug my son tightly. My child who was hurt, frightened, yet continued to face forward. The desire to help others that had sprouted within him. Perhaps that was the most precious gift this ordeal gave us. The next morning, I was up early tending to vegetables in our small backyard garden. The smell of soil, the gleam of morning dew, the chirping of birds. Everything teaches us the preciousness of life. "Did you see this morning's news?" Michael came to the backyard with his tablet. The screen showed news about the passage of a new bill on food allergy measures. Our activities are bearing fruit little by little. Looking up at the sky while tilling the soil, I saw maple leaves swaying in the wind under the clear blue sky. As if announcing the beginning of a new season. Indeed, perhaps there is no such thing as a perfect family. But a relationship where we can acknowledge each other's imperfections and support one another, we learned that this is what makes a true family. And now, we are about to take another new step forward. Watching Ryan grow, healing wounded hearts, and becoming help for more people.